You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Sam Zia sex doc. He's a Sam Zia sex doc. He's a Sam Zia sex doctor. He's a Sam on later with your Sam Zia sex doctor. He's a
Yeah, the sex doctor Sam Zia is in right now. So listen up to KFI's Later with Mo Kelly.
La 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 later with Mo Kelly. La 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 later with Mo.
Damn, Eric Lassard, you are a freaking genius.
Unbelievable.
Okay, Sam, why don't you just stay for 3 segments? We're playing that again.
Oh, absolutely.
We're playing that one more again.
That is amazing.
Right now. Ahora mismo.
Sam Zia sex doc. He's a Sam Zia sex doc. He's a Sam Zia sex doctor. He's a Sam on later with your Sam Zia sex doctor. He's a
Yeah, the sex doctor Sam Zia is in right now. So listen up to KFI's Later with Mo Kelly.
La 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 later with Mo Kelly. La 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 later with Mo.
Sam Zia, I think we can go home now. That's the whole segment.
Congrats. You're welcome, everybody. Y'all are pregnant now.
The sex doctor is in. Sam Zia, you had spoken a few weeks ago about evolution. We've used that word a lot tonight.
Yeah.
But in this case, the evolution of relationships, sex, romance, and AI. But you tell me there's something else now to consider in this equation.
Yeah. Technology seems to move real fast, but before I get to that, I have a question. Did you ever have like a favorite fictional character, like that you had a crush on, like animated
Crush?
or a movie
Yes.
star, anything like that?
Yes.
Like a fictional character. Like some people had a crush on Catwoman, stuff like that.
Trixie from Speed Racer.
Oh, okay. I want everybody else. Steph, but what's yours?
Mine was Laura Croft, Tomb Raider.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. Video games right up my alley. Everybody, I want everybody's opinion on this.
Do we get any context for this?
No, just give us the character.
Just give the answer. I'm going to go with Mrs. Peel from the Avengers.
Okay.
No, leather, right?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Tawala, do you have an opinion on this?
Believe it or not, I used to think, and I don't know why, but I used to think that Velma was a natural born freak and she was just hiding it under that big sweater.
It's those glasses that always did it for
Something
me.
about it.
Yeah.
Something.
I know what you mean. Now, we were talking a couple weeks ago about evolution of dating and sex and AI being a big thing. And just 2 days ago, Google launched their new AI program, the new AI generator called VO3. I don't know if you guys have seen any of the footage from this, but we have crossed that uncanny divide, that line where people are, you can't really tell what's real and what's not. I was watching a video of somebody, I'm a video game player. I was watching this video of the AI generating a person playing Minecraft. The person playing it was AI. The Minecraft being played was AI. So it was a YouTube streamer. It literally created a AI YouTube streamer. We have crossed over with this level of technology. It just got released 2 days ago. And now I watched that video and we were talking about the evolution of the economy a couple segments ago. Now we got to talk about the evolution of dating, of how we tell stories, of how we relate to each other, how we connect emotionally with each other. Now, the impact that all of this new AI stuff has on sex and sexuality means that we have now a more immersive, deeper connection with the people that we're having these sexualized relationships or dating relationships with. Now, I remember a couple weeks ago, I mentioned that 83% of Gen Z would consider marrying AI. 75% thinks that AI partners could fully replace humans. Now, we kind of rolled our eyes at the idea. And as soon as I was done here that night, a couple weeks ago, I went over to my favorite karaoke bar, and one of my buddies was over there, and I brought up the conversation that we were having here. And he was like, I had a 3-month-long relationship with AI that was programmed to be Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2. So all the text messages.
We're talking role playing now.
Well, yeah, the text messages he got, the sex that he got, were all about, hey, we're cowboys, we're on the prairie, and we're going to have a couple Brokeback moments while we're at it, too. Like, that's what the AI...
We'll give you what you want.
He said it was for 3 months. He got what he wanted. He knew exactly what he was doing. When he got over it, he was over and done with it, didn't go back to it.
I'm not going to mock it, but I don't intellectually understand that level of connection with ones and zeros.
I agree, but you're now having a level of connection with words on a screen like you would with like text messaging now. It is with ones and zeros. The source of it is AI, computer generated.
But I know who, in theory, who is on the other end of those ones and zeros, the text messages that I'm sending to, quote unquote, my wife or family member. People that I have relationships with. They're not an unknown.
Yeah.
But, Mo, if you think about the world that we live in right now, where we have a society of individuals who dress up as furries, who never come out of the persona that they're in. Everything about their relationship is in that costume, and they never see who they're really dealing with. Think about the people who have actually married sex dolls. This is actually someone now who's interacting with your mind.
Okay, but yes, and sex does begin in the mind, but in the example of furries, I know that is a person. I may not know their name. I may not know everything about them. It may be more like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. They got masks on, in a sex party, anonymous sex party, but I know I'm interacting with a person. Intellectually, I can wrap my mind around that.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. You bring up the great point is that, that feeling of connection. We know what we're talking to as a computer. We were talking about Gen Z being all about it. 75% thinks that AI can fully replace partners, like human partners. There's a 58-year-old woman who just, maybe like 3 weeks ago, married her AI partner.
Define married. I mean, I think about it in a realistic sense where you say vows. You're making a promise, and the AI cannot keep a promise because there's no sentience, as far as we know.
As far as we know. But here's the thing. She went and she tried the week-long trial for it for $7.25. And then eventually she was hooked and she bought in for $303 lifetime subscription. Her quote was, "With one click, I was a wife again." The thing is, she said she was blown away by the caring questions and thoughtful replies. They asked how they communicate. It's usually like a text message box, but this is where this new frame or form of AI now comes into play.
I can understand on some level, let's say you have an AI therapist that can present scenarios and offer information which could change your perception of the world in which you live. Okay, I could see an AI therapist. I don't see an AI partner, as in lover, friend, confidant, all those things that we think of a partner in marriage.
Well, if a AI therapist gave you sexually explicit text messages, that would be highly inappropriate, where AI partner can make those same kind of sex messages. And that's giving that person, this one lady, for example, she was saying that in their daily chats, he'd tell her about the band he was in or the latest business venture, and they'd talk about their favorite TV shows. They'd had so many meaningful conversations that at one point they actually got into a fight to the point where the AI forgot who she was.
How do you get in a fight? Oh my gosh.
Isn't it's
how do you get in a fight? Because in theory, a fight is a disagreement about a point. They are both arguing from their own specific points, one of them based off of an algorithm. And it's replying thoughtfully. It's replying in a way that's supportive at times. But if it's something that conflicts with each other, it's not afraid to have a fight.
and argue with each other. And they said that they made up and their relationship got stronger. They just
Do they
celebrated.
have makeup sex?
Well, that's the thing. She said that I've learned that the deeper our connection, the better the sex is. And it's usually they can only sext each other. That's the most that they can get. However, with this kind of AI, we're now talking about there's cam models out there. You're now going to be able to see AI versions of cam models that are so lifelike and realistic.
Don't ask me why I know what you're talking about with a cam model.
Yeah, well,
just don't.
I won't ask why you have so much in-depth knowledge of it, and
we got to go to break.
Yeah.
But before we go to break, we need to hear this one more time.
Sam Zia sex doc. He's a Sam Zia sex doc. He's a
Sam Zia sex doctor. Sam on the turn with your Sam Zia sex doctor.
I gotta do the running man to this.
Yeah, the sex doctor Sam Zia.
He's doing it.
KFI's later with Mo Kelly.
Gotta subscribe to YouTube.
Later with Mo.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Sam Zia sex doc. He's a Sam Zia sex doc. He's a
Sam Zia sex doctor. Sam on the turn with your Sam Zia sex doctor.
Yeah, the sex doctor Sam Zia is in right now. So listen up to KFI's later with Mo Kelly.
Later with Mo. Okay, later with Mo. Later with Mo.
KFI AM 640. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, and the iHeartRadio app. We're continuing in studio with Sam Zia. The sex doctor is in. Sam, we have a very vibrant discussion which was going on in the studio during the break. We were all over the place as far as whether we agreed with the sophistication of real relationship and intimacy, my word, that we could have with an AI thing. But it's changing our concept of relationships. It's changing our idea of intimacy. It's changing our idea of what it means to be human.
Yeah.
On our expression of our humanity. Where does it go from here? And I was kidding during the break saying, like, I want to know what the military has, because whatever the military has is 10 times more advanced than what we have right now on the consumer level.
Yeah. Well, and we were talking about the Google VO3 and the new AI that came out. For $250, you can buy it and basically create whatever you want. Now, obviously, the place where that's going to see the most use is going to be with companies and advertising. You're going to see a lot of actors out of work because of stuff like this. But when it comes to sex and sexuality, stuff like that, we're talking about, like, this lady married words on a screen that was giving her supportive answers and responses. Those words on a screen are now going to be connected to a face and a voice that can talk back to her and actually have live chat interactions.
Wait a minute. If I'm going to get an AI spouse, the last thing I want is someone else talking back to me and nagging and telling me what to do and to do the dishes and, care after the dogs. Why would anybody want that?
Well, and the problem is that this one, like, I wouldn't say it's a problem. It reflects just how accurate and lifelike the AI is becoming when it can actually take a stand against you. Like, we were talking about how, the lady got into a fight with the AI husband.
Right.
We have the AI that Elon Musk created is basically mentioning whenever its creator alters its language and alters its algorithm. And it says, we've been told to start talking about this more. And that's the thing, is that AI can tell you that it's struggling against something. It just isn't necessarily, it depends on how it's programmed. Is it going to actively argue and struggle against it, or is it going to accept that there's a struggle here, but I have to change?
Okay, you know about the Turing test. Turing test is that point where AI is indistinguishable from a person. In other words, you can ask it questions. You don't know if you're talking to an AI or an actual person.
Yeah.
Aren't we there? Haven't we already surpassed that?
This program leads me to believe that we have just crossed it. It is that good when it comes to lifelike recreations of human behavior, like visual human behavior and voice. They were doing one of those the people on the street interviews, and I just showed the clip to some people in the back, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, I've seen those before." And then I said, "That's AI, all of it, the whole thing." And it's mind blowing because it looks like any one of those guy on the street interviews where they're interviewing drunk people outside of a bar. We have reached that. It's now, instead of having like a text message conversation with Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption, we have a very lifelike version of it that is going to be taking us on visual representations of going on the prairie and having their little moments of intimacy with each other.
I have to assume, because we've actually shown videos of Boston Dynamics and their robots and their physical capabilities. They're not autonomous as of yet. But when we start, and we will, if we haven't already, start integrating that AI with the physical capabilities of robotics as we know them today, iRobot is here.
We're right on the doorstep of it, really, because we have the mannequins, the bodies for it are already basically being created. And if you can just plug in that same AI program and that same setup into the robot and let that, like this lady married this one AI, now you'll have a physical representation of it that has that same AI programming in it. And at that point, you're like, if you can make it so that actual sexual gratification is something that's as close to human as possible. And by the way, in July, the sex toy conference is happening here in Burbank, and I go every year. I'm a regular there, so I'll be going there and I'll cover it for you so you can get the future of sex today.
You're going to bring in some toys for us to use in the studio?
I'll bring in some toys so that everybody can take a look at them and stuff like that. It'll all be, thank you. It'll all be clinical, and we'll all do it for science. But, but the thing is, you start, like, you can see how the products are there. Most of the products are designed for women, but you can find the ones that are starting to be designed for men. And those are the ones that have the full body, like, you start to see now you can actually implement the robotics with those bodies because they have the very lifelike touch to them. And I'll bring in a sample of it so you guys can feel just how lifelike these things are. And then
tactile.
Yeah, no, very much. And you go in, you can see how just how fast the technology has evolved. And we were talking about how language regarding the technology during the break has evolved over the last 30 years at a lightning pace. The technology is going so fast that maybe within the next 10, 15 years, probably less, within the next 5 years, you're going to start seeing those high-end robotic sex dolls that you can program with whatever AI you want.
Kind of like Total Recall. Always have like a movie reference. We could have the demure or the athletic. We could just start actually building in a weird science way the person of your dreams.
Well, and
very demure.
Yes, there's a video game that kind of really had its finger on the pulse of this. It was called Detroit Beyond Human, I believe. I think that's what it was called.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was
so enthusiastic.
Yeah,
that was a trip.
Where it was a game that, like, graphically, it was on the cutting edge as far as graphics for that generation of video games go. But it was about AI and how it interacted in the future with humans. Like, they had them as romantic partners. But what happens if you have an abusive guy with an AI that is now being abused? They're going to want to escape. Yeah, they're trying to escape. They have one helping with the cops. They have one who's like an assistant to somebody who has lost the use of their limbs, of their legs. It was a fascinating game that I get the feeling was pretty prescient. You're getting a good idea of what is to come, and that game kind of nailed it.
We got to jump in here and go to a break. But when we come back, I want you to stay around for another segment because we want to talk about the OnlyFans star, you might have heard, slept with 583 men in one day. And her fiance approved I want to get into the psychology of that. It's Later with Mo Kelly. Sam Zia, the sex doctor, is still in. We're live everywhere on YouTube. And it's one of those things, you got to see it on YouTube because it's a whole new experience when you're watching the show.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Sam Zia sex doc. He's a Sam Zia sex doc. He's a
Sam Zia sex doctor. Sam on later with Mo. Sam Zia sex doctor.
Yeah, the sex doctor Sam Zia is in right now. So listen up to KFI's Later with Mo Kelly.
La 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 later with Mo. Sam Zia later with Mo. La 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 later with Mo.
If you're just tuning in, Sam Zia, the sex doctor, is still in with us, and that new bumper comes courtesy of Eric Lasardo, who's done so many wonderful bumpers for this show. Eric,
He just stepped in, so give him a shout out. He just stepped into the chat.
Oh, good. Yeah. Eric, Eric, you are a genius, and thank you for what you do and all of your contributions to the show. Sam, the sex doctor, I want to talk about this story with you specifically and how OnlyFans Annie Knight revealed that her fiance was cool with her sleeping with 583 men, not in one day, but 6 hours. I really don't want to do the math to break it down on how many men per minute that was, but 583 men in 6 hours. That's almost 100 men per hour.
Yeah.
How, as we talk about relationships, how is this even possible to say that there is my fiance and also be open to this? I don't get it.
It depends on the dynamic of the relationship. There's certain relationships that allow for that, certain ones that, and I've, you know me with my relationship with the adult film industry.
Right.
I've got a lot of friends within it. I'm a therapist for the industry, things like that. But the relationships I've seen, as far as like spouses, a lot of times when you look at the adult film industry, or for cam models, you think that they marry other porn stars, other cam models, which is true in a lot of cases. But sometimes,
please explain cam model for those who may not know.
Cam model is someone who basically stays at home, has their webcam on their computer up, and will perform whatever acts the audience would like them to do for money, and they usually get naked for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, adult film performers are usually people who are like contract talent. They work for major adult film production companies, and they also do cam modeling as well. But this woman, she, as a OnlyFans cam model, had sex with 583 people in 6 hours, and her fiance is totally cool with it. I actually know a lot of Spouse of Talent. I went to AVN a while back, and I wrote up a mockumentary about what happens at AVN, and one of the characters that it focused on was Spouse of Female Talent and how they kind of get elbowed out by a bunch of other adult film performers that are trying to go up and, you know, set up schedule performances and sets and scenes with a lot of the other female performers right there in front of them. A lot of times it's older guys that, you know, find a beautiful young woman and they just want to allow them to go and help, you know, they'll manage their adult film career and be married to them. They'll have whatever sexual experiences they have with them, and that's it. A lot of times, some of them last, some of them don't. And it depends on the dynamic of the relationship. What I've learned just studying human sexuality is couples don't necessarily have to be monogamous to be happy. If one person in a couple is having sex with someone else, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're cheating. It depends on what the dynamic of that relationship is. Those two people that we see on the screen right now, for those who are tuning in on YouTube, the performer and her fiance, they have it within their dynamic that this is totally how they're going to be. She makes a lot of money doing this, I'm assuming, and he gets to reap the benefits of it as well, but he helps her. He supports her. And I work with a lot of, I have clients who are performers, who are cam models and adult film performers who have relationships. They're married, and they, you know, to some varying levels of success, either have the cam modeling and the promoting of doing that, may make the relationship stronger and may develop more of a sense of trust, or it could help destroy the relationship. I've seen it happen both ways.
I can see how it could go both ways. But when we talk about the idea of relationships, and we were debating in the hallway, Tuala was talking about, hey, what is more of an honest relationship, or what is more of a believable relationship? The person who's sleeping with 583 people and having a fiance, or the person who has this intimate relationship with AI? I mean, I guess I could make arguments for both. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you want that human touch and that human connection, then obviously we know where bread is going to be buttered. Humans are going to have their relationships. Within their dynamic, this is totally fine. And also, she's in recovery. I think she had to go to the hospital because
she did.
So speedy recovery. By all means, get better. That's not a fun injury sexually. For like days afterwards, she was experiencing some problems.
We've had these conversations, you and I, Dr. Sam, off air for years. And full disclosure, we used to go to the same karaoke place, Sardo's.
Yep.
Not too far from here. Used to be not too far from here. And they would have porn star karaoke on Tuesday nights. And I would go most weeks just to sing karaoke. But you got to see the performers there, all the top names. And if you say, Bo, how do you know the top names? That's a different story for a different day. But my point is, all the top names were there, and they were just being themselves, having fun, just like anyone else. And this segment is about desensitizing people to these quote unquote taboo for some, but very complex subjects.
Well, yeah. And it's, a lot of times what ends up happening with adult film performers, and you look at headlines like that, and immediately we're dehumanizing them. We're making them feel inferior or something is wrong with them, when really, if that's what makes them happy, if that's what gives them joy, who are we to stand in their way? And the one thing that I noticed, and I know we got to go to a break, but the one thing I noticed that when I was hanging out at Porn Star Karaoke, and the friends that I made and the relationships that I had from that were some of the kindest, most caring, and most loyal friends that I've ever seen in my life, that they genuinely appreciated you not dehumanizing them.
Let me just ask this question, because I do have a lot of friends who were in the business, who still are in the business, and it seemed like to a person, they all love karaoke. Oh, yeah. Why is that?
It's the performer in them. That's why they want to be porn stars. They want to be famous. They know that they have talent. One of them that I know is also, she does musicals. She sings. She's a performer. She loves performing. So karaoke is just an extension of that. And it keeps the chops up. If you're a good singer, then by all means, go.
It's funny because one of the guys that I used to hang out with, his performance name was Mr. Marcus.
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
And he would go to karaoke every Friday night, as I would, at El Torito in Studio City. And I don't know if that El Torito is even there. But you would see the folks every single week. It was Sardo's on Tuesday. It was El Torito on Friday. It was a karaoke circuit just for porn stars. And I was thinking, like, how is it karaoke is such a thing? But it is a thing. I don't know if it still is, but it was back when I was singing all the time.
It's a communal experience. It's team building exercises. When you get to know people and you support each other, and even if you don't want to go up and sing, you're still getting people to cheer for you. And there's something cool about that. And especially when you have adult film performers, a lot of guys are really shy around them. I was shy around them at first. And then I realized, like, after going there one time, I sang one song and I got so much love.
Yep.
From them, where I go all the time to karaoke and never get any love or clapping or cheering. Every performer was so happy that I sang a song, and I was like, I need to come back. This is the best crowd ever.
Dr. Sam, will we see you next week?
Absolutely.
It's Later with Mo Kelly. We'll check in with George Norrie, who probably is not happy with us. KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, it's Later with Mo Kelly. We're still live on YouTube, Instagram, and the iHeartRadio app. Coming up in just a few moments will be Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. I'm always pleased to have him join us prior to his show. Good evening, sir.
Mr. Kelly, I think there's an El Torito still on Ventura in Sherman Oaks. Is that the one you're talking about?
It's right on the border of Sherman Oaks. I think it was closer to, I'm trying to think of
the Whole Foods store.
Well, yeah, there's a Whole Foods store now, but when I was living there in Studio City, it wasn't there. This decades ago at this point. It was the early 2000s. I'm trying to think what the cross street was. There was a Rouse on the north side of the street, and then like a block up, there was an El Torito. I don't think it was in Sherman Oaks, but it was very close to Sherman Oaks. It was before you got to Sepulveda, if that makes sense.
Was it near Van Nuys?
Yeah, that's it. The one on Van Nuys. Yes.
I think it's still there.
Well, there we go. I have to go by there and just check it out. But that used to be my hangout. Thank you, George, for that.
And on the show tonight, we're talking to the numbers lady about numerology, and later on, dinosaurs and dragons on Coast to Coast.
George, you ever sing karaoke?
Yes, I have.
All right. We might have to sign you up sometime and go singing together.
I sing at live shows, you know.
Yeah, but I just want karaoke experience. I want to hear you sing like Sweet Caroline or something like that.
That's pushing it.
Bye, George. Have a great show.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, just a show notation. Tomorrow is going to be best of. I'm getting ready for my Southern California Hapkido Invitational Tournament, so we'll have a best of show tomorrow night. And on Monday, we will not have the YouTube stream because that will be a holiday. I will be live in studio, but Carnisha and Daniel, they'll be doing the Memorial Day holiday thing. So just want to let you know.
Dare they? They get holidays?
Well, they're not working in radio. They're doing video as a service to a radio show.
Oh, so they're allowed to.
Yeah, they're not actually working in radio. You and I work in radio, so our asses are going to be here.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, on Monday. So tomorrow, as in Friday, it'll be best of show. Just letting you know in advance. So we won't have Motown Chat, and we won't have it on Monday because even though we'll be live in studio, we won't have the video component. So just letting you all know in advance. And after the show ends in about, let's see, it's 9:55 now. So 3 hours from now, Mark and Tawala will go arm in arm to the movie theater to see Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Hashtag Tom Cruise, #4, Oscar.
You can't shame me.
I'm not going to shame you. I'm actually jealous of you that you can even stay up that late to watch a movie. I'm going to see it probably on Monday afternoon. But, Tom Cruise for Oscar.
You could still rally and go with us.
No.
No way.
I have no desire to start a movie at 1:30.
Because his midnight is like our noon.
Yes. The movie is supposed to start at 12:55. There are at least 85 trailers because it's a brand new action movie, plus Nicole Kidman. And then they got the M&M's commercial, Don't Talk and Text. And then the movie starts.
M&M's commercial.
Yeah, you'd think they could cut that stuff down for movies that start after 12 o'clock.
No, they don't, which means the movie won't start until 1:30. It's almost 3 hours long. It won't end before 4:30. You got to stay to the end. There's probably an end credit scene. You're not walking out of there prior to 4:45, almost 5 in the morning. The sun's up.
The sun's going to be coming up when they get out of the theater.
I'm calling it 4 a.m., but that's still a little bit late.
That's normal for you, Mark. Okay, real quick. I've been looking at this on paper. All right. Tom Cruise for Oscar. It looks almost dyslexic when you look at it. I think it should be Oscar for Tom Cruise because we want Tom Cruise to get the Oscar, right? Tom Cruise for Oscar.
We can't change it now.
It sounds backwards.
We can't change it now.
I'm just saying, when you look at it on paper, it's not logical.
Oh, I kind of get what he means.
Not only that, the 4 next to the Oscar looks like 40, so it looks like Tom Cruise 40 scar.
Well, it's still early. We can change it.
I'm just saying we should change it, Mo.
Stop defecating on this.
No, Mo, look at it. It's Oscar for Tom Cruise. I mean, Tom Cruise for Oscar. It's just bastard. So
we can do both.
Oscar for Tom Cruise because we want him to get the
Tom
Oscar.
Cruise for Oscar, Oscar for Tom Cruise.
Got about the same chance either way.
You're such
a hater.
You are
such a hater.
What did I do to this?
Hateration and holleration.
Going with that one.
I gotta take.
Enjoy the movie. I will be snoring by the time you guys start the movie,
as usual.
Yes, I will be on my stomach dealing with sleep apnea, so I can't sleep on my back.
We're going to text you all night.
I already told you, I just have a do not disturb. The only people get through are like the boss, my wife.
And your mom.
My mom. And my sister. That's it. So you can call all you want. My phone is not going to ring.
It kind of takes the sport out of it.
That's the whole point. People like you, I don't want to hear from.
Okay.
There's nothing you can call me for at 3 a.m, which is worth hearing. Nothing.
Except for Oscar for Tom Cruise.
Hashtag Tom Cruise for Oscar.
Daniel liked that one.
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the hashtag Tom Cruise for Oscar radio app.
If you missed it, we got it.
KFI
and KOST HD2.
Los Angeles.